What's going on, guys? Stefan here with you, S&E's Garage. Today we are in the shop with our Polaris Sportsman 850 and 570. And today we're going to be installing the hand and throttle warmer kit made by Polaris, part number 2885002. So we already went ahead and did the install on this machine here. We did it off camera just so we can get acquainted with the install, and then we're going to do this one here on camera. The finished product should look something like this. You can put your switches wherever you want. I decided to put them on the left side. Here's the throttle warmer, and then the hand warmers are here underneath the grips. Now, what's nice about this kit is you can reuse your grips. You don't need new grips, and I kind of like that. I like these grips. And it completely integrates with the factory wiring. There's no cutting, no splicing. It's plug and play. Now this kit here is going to come with everything you need. It's going to come with some instructions, your rocker switches, a couple of zip ties, some heat shrink, and then it's going to come with all three heater elements. So here is the element for the thumb throttle. These are the elements for the handlebars, or the grips. And then in here is your plug and play wire harness. So I'll leave that kit in the video description below. If you buy from that link, it does help the channel. We do greatly appreciate it. So along with that, you're gonna need some rubbing alcohol. You're going to need a T25 Torx bit. You're gonna need a lighter or a heat gun or something of the sort. And you're gonna need some compressed air. So this kit will work for 2017 and upward machines. So 2017 to current. Right now, I think they're on the 2025 or the 2026 model year. Not too sure, but this will work all the way up to the newest machines. And again, totally plug and play. So we're going to go ahead and set you up on the tripod, and we're going to start by removing these grips. It's going to be our first step because the element that we install on this is going to go under these grips. So to remove the grips, we're going to go ahead and use some compressed air. We're going to plug this hole. We're going to blow some air in that hole, and it's going to literally shoot the grip off. So let me throw you on the tripod, and let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and take our air gun here. We're going to stick it in this hole, plug this hole, and you'll see it'll literally just about shoot your grip off. You may just have to give it a little bit more here. There we go. So we got that grip off. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. But for this side, we're going to have to plug the hole with your thumb. And you'll see that grip will come off as well. And once you get the grip off, you're going to take your rubbing alcohol. You're going to wet a paper towel here. You don't got to soak it. And we're going to go ahead and just wipe the handlebar off. Lather, rinse, and repeat for the other side. And now we're going to go ahead and apply the heater elements to the handlebar. So we're going to start here on the left side, or what I guess I'll call the driver's side. When you install this, you want these wires to be facing this way, because we're going to route this wire here like this in between the master cylinder and then down the handlebar. So what I like to do here is I'll just go ahead and pull this double-sided tape off. And you don't want to touch the tape. You just want to get this situated to where you want it. And then you're just going to start it. And then you don't want any ripples or wrinkles in this. So just go around uniformly. And you're just going to kind of conform this to fit around your bar. Like so. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now same deal on this side. We're going to route this around the back side of the thumb throttle. So again, pull off the tape, get this clocked the way you want it, and then start from the center and just work your way around. And now we're going to go ahead and pull the double-sided tape here for your throttle. That was a spider, by the way. And you're going to go ahead and set it in place as well. Now, once you have that in place, you're going to go ahead and take your heat shrink and you're going to slide it over the throttle like so. And now this is the part where a heat gun would probably work better. I work with heat shrink professionally. I use it a lot in wiring, so I know how to do this with a lighter. Just very carefully work it basically back and forth. You don't want to stay in one spot for too long, and you'll see it as it shrinks. You'll see it conform to the grip. Again, you don't want to stay in one spot for too long. We're just gonna work our way back and forth here until this shrinks the way we want it to shrink. And we're happy with that. So at this point, we can now go ahead and reinstall our grips. Now, reinstalling the grips is actually super easy. You just want to be aware of how the grip was clocked before you removed it. This square pattern was on the bottom. So you don't really need any special lubricant or any special glue to put these on. Just use rubbing alcohol. Rubbing alcohol is a great lubricant for this purpose because it dissolves very quickly and it'll allow these to grip. So what I like to do is I'll take this hole, I'll plug it, I'll pour some alcohol in here, then I'll plug this hole. I'll just shake the grip around a little bit, dump the excess on the floor, and then we'll go ahead, just like you see in real time, and work the grip into place. Now you're just going to take your time here to make sure it's clocked correctly. This one is, and it's all the way on. Let's repeat this process on the other side. All right, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the headlight cover. Basically, there's going to be 4 Torx bits or Torx screws you're going to have to remove. 2 are on the faceplate on either side of the speedometer on the top, left and right. There's going to be 1 here and then 1 in a similar spot on the other side. And with those screws removed, this panel will come right off. And once you're at this point, you can now go ahead and begin the process of routing these wires down behind the panel in question. And you just want to get them up behind this panel. I don't like to zip tie any of this stuff until I have it all routed. That way I'm not cutting any zip ties. But more or less, you're just going to follow the other wires that are already in the machine, and your install will be nice and easy. So now you're basically just going to pick which side you want your switches on. On our 850, we did them on the left, so we'll do the same thing here. You're going to see these 2 dead man switches here. There's 2 here and 2 there. Your best bet is just going to be to pop them out from the back. So you just give it a push, and I don't know if you saw that, it'll literally shoot right out. So we got them out. Now you can go ahead and install your rocker switches. We did handlebar top and throttle bottom. You could do it whatever boat you float, doesn't really matter. But they literally just clip right in. Now you're just going to start plugging in your harness. You'll see everything here is labeled, so you have hand, thumb. These are going to go to the individual hand warmers. This one here is going to go to the throttle warmer, and then one of these, depending on which setup your machine has, is going to be plugged into the machine. You will not be using both of these, you'll only be using one. So if you remember, we did go ahead and put our handlebar warmers up top. So we're going to take our one that says hand, and we're going to connect it to the top switch, and then we're going to connect the one that says throttle or thumb, and we're going to connect that to the bottom switch. Now we're just going to go ahead and connect the thumb heater. Okay, we're going to route and connect our hand warmers. Okay, and then we're going to find the dummy switch back here that is not being used, which in this case happens to be this guy here. It is a connector with a red wire with a white chaser and a black wire. This one right here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and plug that into our plug and play harness. So at this point, now that you got everything routed and connected, you can go ahead and zip tie everything into place. It's going to include 4 zip ties. I used 2 on each handlebar. And I like to make these look as neat and factory as possible. So I just followed the factory wiring and zip tied right next to the factory location. You are just going to want to make sure that you leave enough slack for the thumb throttle wire to move without pulling. So just check that before you really, snug your zip tie down. And I like to make sure all of my zip ties are facing down, that way they don't cut you or anyone else riding the quad, because zip ties can be pretty sharp when you cut them. So to test these, you can either turn them on and basically sit here and wait for them to get hot, but I found a better way. So I just turn the ignition on. Okay, and I'll pull up the voltmeter. So we're 12.5 volts, lights are off. When I turn these on, I should see the voltage drop. So you see 12.4, 12.3, 12.2. So we know these things are pulling current now. If I turn that one off, it might go back up to 12.3. The throttle one really doesn't take much current. It's more the handle ones, but you'll see 12.3, 12.2. So now we'll go ahead, we'll let it sit for a minute. That's one trick that I've learned to see if they're working. But we're just gonna let the quad sit for a minute. We're gonna see if these get warm. And if they do, we're gonna be all done. We can just go ahead and put our faceplate back on and we'll be good to go. I wish I had a thermal heat gun here to show you, but take my word for it, these are working. The thumb throttle actually gets ridiculously hot in the high settings. So unless it's like 30 degrees out, you're probably going to be fine with the lower setting. Otherwise, it's going to burn your thumb, or maybe if you're wearing gloves. But this, I think, is definitely a must-have. I don't want to call it modification because it's not. This is a must-have feature if you drive in mildly cold weather. It's November here in New Jersey. We're still riding, 40, 50 degree weather. Even in the 60s, when you're flying down trails, the wind makes your hands get cold. So the heaters are definitely, in my opinion, a must-have. We are also in the near future going to be doing some some hand guards to block some of the wind from hitting our hands and stuff. So these are just a couple of things that'll make your quad more enjoyable in the winter. So you saw how we did it here on our 850. Again, it was the same exact kit and we did it the same exact way. You'll see our wires are coming out in the same spot. Our zip ties are in the same place. And even our switches are in the same place. So if this video helped you or interested you, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll leave everything we used in this video in the description below. If you buy from that link, it helps us out and we do greatly appreciate it. So again, like, share, subscribe, stay tuned. We got more content coming on the Sportsmans. We also have some content here coming on the RZR 1000 XP4.